Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. This is an ASMR vlog of my trip on a cruise liner earlier this year. This was in May. So we started off in a hotel in Birmingham the night before. Early May was beautiful weather, it was so warm. So we then stopped at a few services, which are always good fun. Maybe it's just me, but I love visiting different services. And this one near London was amazing. Anything you could think of they had. And when there's a patisserie Valerie and there's some lovely cakes on offer, you know that I'm coming back. So that was great fun. I loved that. Then you can see in Southampton as we're approaching the terminal, and it was the Navigator of the Seas that we were on for a week. These are the Royal Caribbean boats, and although the Navigator's actually one of the older boats, it's actually still such a lovely experience. It still feels, to me anyway, extremely luxurious. And when you get to leave the UK on a stunning day, you just wouldn't want to experience, for me anyway, any other style of holiday. I just love it. And for anyone that thinks that a cruise might be boring or claustrophobic, I think if you haven't tried it and that's your concern, I think you will probably end up thinking that it's such a great way to relax. I mean, just look at that. The water is so peaceful and calm. If you've got a balcony room, you can just take on board just the beautiful natural scenery around you. If you don't have a balcony, you're always close to just being able to go outside and soak up all that fresh air. On this particular cruise, it was back to the 80s events, quite a lot of them, and I absolutely love when you've got your classic 80s bands. You can see here it was actually Kim Wilde on our first night, and she was amazing, and it was so entertaining because sometimes people do say that they enjoyed cruises but they felt that there wasn't entertainment to suit them. So when we found out that part of the cruise was going to be some really famous, still popular 80s acts, that just sealed it for me, and I just thought, right, we're doing that. So Kim was amazing, our old stuff was fantastic, her new stuff was brilliant, and you can see just how many people were there. There were thousands. I think all in there were about 4,000 people on the cruise. So every night there was a different concert, different band, different singer, and just so much fun. Like many cruises and many hotels, it was always amusing to see what they'd done for your towels and the different animals they made them into. Because we were going to two parts of Spain and Portugal, you would get reminders to change your clocks and your watches. So sometimes it would be an hour forward. I think at the most we were 2 hours forward all in. But this is us in Bilbao, which surprisingly was quite a dull day. It's really unusual for anyone who lives in the UK to find that the weather was actually nicer when they left. But it was still lovely to see. It was really interesting. It's always very relaxing to see just a little insight into how people live in a different part of the world. And then back on the boat, this is a view, first of all, just of the sea when you're at the top of the boat, but then also just to have a look at how the main precinct, the shopping area, looks. And then this was brilliant. This was a neon street party on the boat, hosted by Sarah Cox, who, if you don't know her, is a really brilliant, funny, talented DJ here in the UK. And she had us in the palm of her hand. She had people queuing up to dance with her. She had so many good classic 80s tunes on. It was hilarious seeing the different costumes that people had dressed in for the 80s nights. There were 2 altogether. But it made me realise that I really need to up my game, because some people, I mean, that's hilarious. That guy had brought his inflatable ghetto blaster, his shell suit, made me realise that I hadn't made nearly enough of an effort. So just seeing what people did just to make it a holiday to remember was just so funny and so entertaining. And it's true, on that night of the street party, the atmosphere was just pure joy. It was almost as if everyone forgot their troubles for a night, dancing to the music, and you could tell that some people felt as if they were teenagers again. Even just if they couldn't get down onto what you would call the street, then they were just queued up on every single level of the boat, and they were just watching everything happening. It was unbelievably happy, and I think that's the perfect description for it. Everyone just felt happy. So in another port, another day, that's another reason why I love cruises. It's almost as if the holiday comes to you. So every day you wake up in a different location and the exploration starts again. So we're in a harbour, and this is us just exploring another part of Spain. And this is Vigo. And again, it was actually warmer than it looks here. And Vigo has this lovely boutique feel to it. The streets feel very relaxed, and I've had to compare it. It would be more like a village, but a very upmarket village. It was just a lovely experience. Again, you visit for a few hours and you just absorb the atmosphere. A little bit of sailing again, and then on to night 2 of Sarah. And this time it was in a nightclub, and again, way too much fun. I've never laughed so much on holiday. Now here's some views again of, first of all, of the boat, and then this was Lisbon. So Lisbon was a scorcher of a day, probably the hottest day. And I really enjoyed the exploration. They had a lot of shopping centres, a lot of outdoor shopping, as you would expect. But what we didn't realise was Eurovision was on, and the finals were actually on this week. So we happened to see Eurovision Village. We were only in the port till about, I think, 6 or 8 o'clock at night. So we could have went to see the elements of the concerts that were on, but it would have been between that and missing the boat. So easy choice to make. Have a little look at Eurovision Village, soak up the atmosphere, and then back to the boat. But I wondered why there was so much of a buzz, more so than I expected, and that's why Eurovision is such a big deal. And if I could have, I would have stayed, but it wasn't an option, unfortunately. And then just as we were getting ready to leave Lisbon, it was so nice just to take in the view. And it's not often that you have deserted areas on the boats. It's never mobbed. Obviously, when you've got a confined street party, it looks mobbed. But overall, there's lots of space for everyone. But every so often, if you're up particularly early or later, you do have little quiet patches. So we've got more concerts here. I think this was Belinda Carlisle. And again, everyone is just in the palm of their hands. They have been doing this for decades. They know the songs that everyone wants to hear. This is Tony Hadley from Spandau Ballet. He was one of the most approachable people. He would just walk through the boat, and if someone wanted to talk to him, then he was extremely approachable. He would just stop for pictures with people. Genuinely nice person. You could see that he was a nice person through and through. So it was a pleasure to watch him in action, and again, he makes it look far too easy. And it was a little bit choppy the night that we saw him, and he dealt with it admirably. I don't know how, when it is a little bit choppy, I don't know how they can make it look so easy on the stage. But again, when I say choppy, it's nothing that would affect your time. It's nothing that actually makes you feel uneasy. So these are what they referred to as the information screens, which were like giant smartphones. And anywhere you wanted to go, you just clicked on the directions and it told you what was on and how to get there. So really clear directions to if you wanted to go to a theatre, if you wanted to go to a club, to a coffee shop. There was always something happening on the boat, always a band playing, a mix of really well-known names with up-and-coming bands, with tribute bands who were as good as who they were paying tribute to, such as the Bee Gees, Tina Turner. You think when it's a tribute they won't be as good, but they just blew you away. They were all fantastic. And again, this is the promenade, which we saw earlier on when Sarah was hosting the neon party. And this is how the promenade looked, maybe say 7, 8 o'clock in the morning when it's just getting started. But you've got your coffee shop, which is open 24 hours. And again, it's just so handy knowing that there's always something open. So if you couldn't sleep or if you were up late, you can always pop to the coffee shop. They've got Ben & Jerry's ice creams. They've got the coffee shop where you can actually get the speciality coffees. Lots of different styles of shopping. So if you like your perfumes and your aftershaves, your skincare, they also have their designer jewellery. Downstairs was the casino. That's quite funny, whenever people saw you, they tended to just wave and be friendly. That's a pub that they had. They've got wine bars, champagne bars. Yeah, if you want to get your watches or your sunglasses, little mementos. Yep, there's the wine bar. There's so many different places that you can either try a different one every night, you can find your favourites. You can, a lot of the time, people befriend each other and they just have little meeting points, and it's such a lovely thing when you're on the cruise just to start chatting with people that you know what it's like. You would ordinarily never meet them, you wouldn't cross paths, and sometimes if you're staying at a resort or a hotel, you might be up and about and never meet these people, but because you're on the cruise you might start to see them, and then you get chatting and you've made a little connection, and they can be anything from just catching up for a little lunch to playing the quizzes. That was quite funny because there was a big quiz at the end of the cruise, and there was a group of us that just naturally buddied up and we ended up winning the quiz, and it was probably about 500 or so people in their different teams, and we won, which I put down to the fact that I do have an amazing memory for my beauty treatments, but also for 80s music, so that tells you lots about me. And then here you can see just how stunning. Now again, this is considered an older cruise ship and one of the smaller ones, and it just looks so luxurious and so festive and so sparkly. And that is the reception desk that again is open 24/7. If you need help, if you need an answer to something, if you want to buy Wi-Fi at sea, you can do it all. Obviously it'll cost you, and you can have treatments on the boat, you can have your hair cut, personal training, you can do yoga. Again, some of them are free, but most come at a price, but that's your choice. A lot of cruising is all-inclusive, so when you buy the cruise, you're buying all of your food unless you want to go to some specific restaurants, such as maybe the steakhouses or the sushi bars. I think that is actually, yes, the dining room. So your fine dining is actually included. But if you wanted to then buy, say, a special steak dinner, you could go to the steakhouse, or you could go to Johnny Rockets, which is the burger bar, and I believe what you do is you just pay a set fee for that. And this might be changing, but it was prior, before you bought your set fee, you went in and then you could basically order whatever you wanted. Now here you can see we're just walking through the casino to go to the bar. And if anyone is Scottish, they might know that the slot machines are called puggies where we're from. Let me know if they're called anything else where you're from, but slot machines do have a different name here in Scotland. And then we're just approaching one of the several bars, and again, because it was early in the day, it was quite quiet, but you might see people that have just grabbed a seat, reading their book, take their coffee with them. There's a piano in the corner. Sometimes from mid-morning onwards, someone might just enjoy having a little play of the piano. That was a little celebrity poker tournament that they had. And then we're on to ABC, and this is Martin Fry of ABC. And again, it's very rare that you haven't heard at least one of their songs. They're always played somewhere. They're on so many adverts. If you're into the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, you might even know that Lisa Vanderpump was in one of their videos in the early 80s. But he was such a nice person too. He was a really, really nice person to chat with. He was, anyone that had met him again on the boat had said he was just so gentlemanly, and I met him very briefly, and I have to say that's exactly how I felt. So I hope you enjoyed that. And please leave me a comment if you'd like to see any more vlog style videos, and also leave me a comment if you've also been a cruise and if you enjoyed them, or what your tips would be for a really good cruise next time someone's considering their holiday.